Hello, this is Father Louis Skirty, and if you've seen the past episodes of Lynn's story, you realize it's really an extreme story, and it's real about all the experiences from blood, guts, murder, traveling, addiction, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's really real. Now, this last story segment is going to be about God, alcoholism, spirituality, and sobriety. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to speed it up because we're taking up too much time. So bear with me as I.
Don't worry about the time.
It,
Go ahead.
all right. So basically, we left off my mom confronting me in the kitchen. She sees that I'm physically very sick. She knows I'm sick. There's just too much going on that has gone down, and I get put in a hospital and sent out. I do a hospital for drug treatment, and then they send me out to Minnesota to a halfway house, and I start to get better. I don't know why, but it gave me some hope. I didn't forgive myself yet, but I also didn't buy into Alcoholics Anonymous. I was still too. I wasn't there just to stop drinking. My issues were so deep that stopping drinking wasn't going to solve anything. It helped, yes. But I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I just thought I was a bad person. So I never bought into it. I stopped doing drugs, but I kept drinking. And I was about 22 now. So I continued my life. I went to 5 colleges prior. I finally graduated from college, actually got into graduate school at Columbia, and I came up at about 27 years old to live in New York City and go to school at Columbia, where I met my first husband, and he was from Ridgewood, New Jersey, which brought me to New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
I attracted to extremely controlling men because of the sexual abuse in my life. I felt like I had no ability to handle life. I was always still in this mindset that I don't really feel like a real person, but I could fake it. I had grown up now, I'm an adult, but I know I see how people behave. I can fake being a real person.
Mm.
When I married him, it was all a fake. I knew walking down the aisle I did not love him, and I tried to stop it again, but I wasn't strong enough. I called my mom at the last minute, a month before the wedding. The big father of the bride wedding in the back, southern, huge, gorgeous, beautiful wedding, lots of money and everything. And I said to my mother, I don't think this is right. I don't think I should go through with this. And she didn't support that. She thought I was having cold feet. And so I went through with it, but it was a horrendous marriage, horrible. But I had my first baby with this man, and I couldn't believe that I was allowed to get pregnant because they told me I probably never would get pregnant. And then, okay, so I'm drinking, I'm married in a very bad marriage to a very controlling guy, and I'm starting to not feel good again. My spirituality was sort of non-existent at that time, and I went through a divorce. The divorce was...
And you're drinking through all this?
I'm drinking. Divorce, but I wasn't out of control. I was a heavy drinker, but I wasn't having real consequences. I was just drinking, like everyone else. Drinking, whatever. Going forth, I was getting divorced, and I met my second husband on a blind date before I was even divorced. Fell in love, got engaged, and got pregnant within a 2-week period. And I hadn't divorced my first husband yet. So now I'm pregnant and engaged to someone else. My husband, I have a son and a husband I'm divorcing. This is how I made decisions. I didn't make decisions. Life just happened to me. I didn't have any control over my life. I didn't know how to. So now I'm getting married, and I would never have another abortion. So I'm having another baby, and I have an 8-year-old son, and life is going on, and my 8-year-old was extremely not in good shape emotionally. My first husband was an alcoholic as well. My first husband said to me, if you divorce me, I will make your life a living nightmare. And he did. And in the process, he also made my son's life a living nightmare. He tried to keep my son from me emotionally, and it got very, very hard for my son to live any kind of normal childhood himself. He had...
So you're drinking through all this?
I'm drinking,
Heavily
the
drinking.
dad's drinking. The only time I quit drinking was when I was pregnant.
Okay.
I quit drinking each time when I was pregnant because it was easy to quit.
Okay.
I didn't like to drink. But I'm not a round-the-clock drinker. I'm a binge drinker,
Okay.
you know. And I have jobs, and I'm an upstanding citizen. It's not like I'm a fall-down drunk. But I was drinking, yes.
And where does God come into this?
God is sort of there, but not there. I did not want my child baptized in the Catholic Church. I knew that. I did not want to be a part of the Catholic Church. But I wanted to find a spirituality, but I didn't know where I belonged. And I didn't really think anyone forgave me. But I had learned enough that I ventured into all different types of religions to find somewhere I might be forgiven or be able to, maybe it's not all about Christianity. Maybe I could be, a born again, Hindu or something. And, I just started trying to find a niche where I might belong.
Right.
And I wasn't getting anywhere because my heart belonged to Jesus and God. And it was a joke, but I didn't know what to do. So I just did life. I was just putting that on the back burner and trying to get through life, which was a joke as well because I didn't know how to get through life. I didn't have any life tools or life direction or life trust in anything. So it was about my first son, by the time he was 14, was a full-blown alcoholic. We didn't know it at the time, but he started having a lot of troubles, and he was in and out of jails and had issues all around until we basically, put the story short, he had a catastrophic car accident, and he barely lived through it. He broke his neck. He was paralyzed. He has a severe brain injury, and this pushed me over the edge. The trauma of his accident was so dark for me, and I saw it all happening for years. I saw it coming, and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't get a grip on this life. I couldn't help him. I had him at 20 different therapists. No one could help him. I was codependent with him. I was codependent with the ex, and it was just a horrible scene. And now I have a paralyzed son who's not going to make it through the night. And the doctors came to us. He was in Hackensack Hospital, and the neurosurgeons prepped us and said, now he's got pneumonia. He was hooked up to every machine in the place, and they said, he's not going to make it through the night. So I got on the phone, and I called a friend, and I was hysterical, and I said, oh my God, you got to do something. Call everybody, start praying, because he's not going to make it through the night. And I had no idea what happened, but this friend got the entire town, 500 people came to the Catholic Church, Mount Carmel, in Ridgewood that evening at 5 o'clock to do a service for my son Michael. And they all went into the church, and it was thundering and lightning and very, very dark outside and raining hard. And they had their service. Friends of his got up to speak, everyone, and they come back out of the church, and the rain had stopped, and there's this intense rainbow going from the church, and it looked like it dropped right down into Hackensack, and different people in this bunch of 500 were taking pictures because it was so astounding. I don't know any of this. I'm down at vigil, sitting vigil with my son, and the next morning, doctors do their rounds at 7 in the morning. They had told us the morning before, here's put up his X-rays. Here's his pneumonia. And so the next morning, it's 7 in the morning again. They say, come back into this room. I'm there. They put up his X-ray from the day before and the X-ray from that morning, and they said, we are very happy to tell you that this is his X-ray yesterday. His lungs are full of pneumonia, and here's today's, not a speck of pneumonia. And I said, well, what do you mean? What is this? And both of the doctors had little smirks on their faces, and I'm like, and my ex-husband, who's Mr. Control Freak, is like, well, what are you trying to say here? And I'm like, they're saying, well, basically we're saying he has no pneumonia anymore, and we don't know exactly why. And I said, well, what are you trying to say, that God did this? And they both had this smirk, and they're saying, well, what we can say is this. There is no scientific explanation. There's no medical explanation for why he has pneumonia yesterday and none today. You go with it where you will. But we are not allowed to say God did it. And I'm like, oh my Lord. First miracle. First significant miracle that I was a part of. And everyone knew it, and we had a picture frame next to my son Michael's bed. He wasn't out of the woods by any means, but he wasn't going to die of pneumonia. And we had the picture of the rainbow by his bed, and it was called Michael's Rainbow. Anyway, okay, so that's how my drinking started, and really heavy again. I started not being able to make it through. I would leave the hospital and go straight to a bar to drive home. He was moved down to Children's Hospital, blah, 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 blah. I end up back on drugs again because my second husband ends up being a bipolar personality disordered person, and he was unmedicated and refused to go to a doctor to get medication, and my second marriage is now unraveling very fast, and he's an alcoholic. He self-medicates by smoking pot all day.
Let's stay with you, though.
I know. So I end up, I don't think I can tell this part of my story. It's too, how I end up back on drugs. I meet somebody.
Okay. Okay, more complications.
Yeah, there's more oddities.
That's fine.
But I end up back on.
Where's God?
God's just not there. But I see, oh, wait, God is back. God is sort of there. He saved my son, so God, but I don't know where I'm at. I'm not ready. My son, even though he was saved, he wasn't coming back to us as a new person. He was not going to be the old person. He was going to be in worse shape.
Okay.
I thought God would, I thought God's miracle at that point was, oh my gosh, he's going to make Michael better altogether. So when we get him better in a few years, he won't be an alcoholic. We can reparent him. He'll be a miracle and be a new person. That did not happen.
So the miracle of the rainbow was that you didn't lose him.
Right.
Okay, we haven't gotten to your particular story
I can't
yet.
get there.
You're going to get there, but it's a really long story, and I really appreciate your time. We're going to pick this up again because I need to hear how God revealed himself to you. Okay? This has been Father Louis Scurti on many segments, the fourth segment of Lynn's story. And as you know, she's a talker, and I love talkers because I love to listen. And I hope you are profiting from this. And tune in again at the next episode, and you'll hear another segment as to where God is in Lynn's life and where is her spirituality. This has been Father Louis Scurti with Friends of the Word. Let me hear from you. Father Louis Scurti at hotmail.com. God bless you.